This show is brought to you by KetConnection.com, draft beverage supplies and solutions. KetConnection has the experience and the expertise to get you set up. Tap your favorite craft beer, homebrew, wine, cold brew, kombucha, sparkling water, and more at home with ease using a KetConnection.com dispensing kit. Go to KetConnection.com, use our promo code BNW, that's for Booze News Weekly, and save 10% off your first order. Some restrictions may apply. Visit KetConnection.com for more details. Coming up on this episode of Booze News Weekly, Brewdog flouted U.S. laws over beer imports, Founders Brewing is getting a new CEO, Coca-Cola and Coors to make a spiked lemonade, and Oskar Blues celebrates 20 years of Dale's Pale Ale. It's Monday, January 31st, 2022. Welcome to this episode of Booze News Weekly, your source for weekly beverage industry news and commentary delivered quickly and conveniently. My name is Joshua Stubing. If you haven't already, click that like button below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification icon to make sure you never miss an episode. Now let's take a look at the headlines of the week. Our first headline comes from the BBC. Brewdog flouted U.S. laws over beer imports. Scottish beer giant Brewdog sent multiple shipments of beer to the U.S. in contravention of U.S. federal laws, a report from BBC.com investigation has found. Staff told the BBC that they were put under pressure in 2016 and 2017 to ship beer with ingredients that had not been legally approved. One U.S.-based importer said that they were deceived by Brewdog. In a social media post last Wednesday, Brewdog CEO James Watt admitted to taking shortcuts with the process. BBC Scotland's disclosure program has been told that staff at the Ellen Brewery in Aberdeenshire knew that two of its flagship products, Elvis Juice and Jet Black Heart, contained extracts which were not approved in the U.S. One former worker said, quote, "The pressure was enormous to just make it happen. That was the culture. It was clear to us that this was coming from the top." From James, and another said, "We were continually told to ship beer to the USA despite everyone knowing the beers hadn't been approved. Everyone was worried they'd be fired if they didn't do what was asked." End quote. The BBC has seen evidence that suggests U.S. Treasury officials from the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, the TTB, were given false information on at least 5 occasions during a 6-month period, which meant that potentially hundreds of kegs of beer were sent with incorrect labeling. Brewdog sources have told the BBC that the only way to have shipped Elvis Juice and Jet Black Heart to the U.S. in that period was to not declare the extracts. Former TTB labeling specialist Battle Martin said, "I think it's serious. There's a lot of people out there putting a lot of effort into complying with regulations. There has been some deception here," he said. "And in my view, based on the number of products and based on the number of times this has happened, I think it warrants further investigation because it shows a pattern." In a LinkedIn post on last Wednesday entitled "My Biggest Mistakes as Brewdog CEO," Mr. Watt said, "We made some mistakes with the paperwork on the first few shipments to the U.S., but all taxes were paid in full, but the paperwork was not always correct. In hindsight, there were oversights due to the fact we were trying to run a growing business on one side of the Atlantic and start a new business on the other." Mr. Watt said the company self-reported the issue to the TTB, who told Brewdog there would be no further action taken. It is not clear if Brewdog self-reported the issue at the time or after the BBC wrote to them. The TTB told the BBC that a 3-year statute of limitations prevented any enforcement actions being taken, and in any case, it would have to be initiated against a U.S.-based importer who is legally responsible for the shipments. You know, you would think with bringing beer from one side of the world to the other shouldn't be so hard, right? It should be just straightforward as declaring, hey, this is beer. Here's who we are, and we're sending it over there. And then over here, our officials go, "Oh, they sent beer. That's what it is." And we receive it. But it's more convoluted than that. It's just, it's a mess. And a story like this is way too deep for me to cover in a 15-minute or less show. But I will say that it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. Hopefully the importer learned a lesson, and maybe that lesson is don't import beer that's not legal. Moving on to a story about a brewery that makes one of my favorite beers of all time. Founders Brewing Company co-founder stepping down as CEO. From Fox17online.com, Founders Brewing Company co-founder and Chief Executive Officer Mike Stevens is stepping down from his role as CEO. Starting February 1st, that's tomorrow, Stevens will become a board member. He helped launch Founders back in 1997 and says watching it grow has been the, quote, honor of a lifetime. In a press release, Stevens says he plans to pursue, quote, other personal ambitions and spend more time with family. Quote, building this company from the ground up and watching it grow into a successful business has truly been the honor of a lifetime, said Founder CEO Mike Stevens. To find something I love doing and then create an entire brand and business from it was an incredible experience. I am extremely proud of what we have accomplished, and I am excited about the opportunities that lie ahead for our organization and to be part of that progress in my new position as a member of the board. The company is now searching for a new CEO. While the search is underway, Eric Diachamp, the Grand Rapids-based Director of International Business for parent company Mao, will assume CEO duties. For this story, I say good on you, Mike Stevens. I hope you enjoy your time stepping down and just serving on the board and whatever those other opportunities are that you're pursuing. I think that's good. As far as I know, and I did, at least 2 Google searches, guys. I did my homework. It doesn't seem like any of this is rooted in controversy. So this is one of those stories. Every time I read a headline, whether it's in the Wall Street Journal or just a Google search or whatever, and it includes so-and-so from whatever company is stepping down as CEO, immediately I go, oh, let's, dive into the article. What's the controversy? This one seems very straightforward. Mike feels like he's done enough in his role. He's been at it as a co-founder since 97. Founders, as long as they don't mess with Breakfast Stout, my favorite beer, one of my favorite beers of all time, I could not care less. That's all I care about really is these breweries as they sell off to other people or as they grow or people leave and come and go. I just want the beer to be good. That's all. At the end of the day, for me, all that matters is the beer I enjoy drinking from these breweries stays as consistently good as it has been since they first started releasing it. So Mike, congratulations. Hope retirement's good to you. Our third headline this week, Coca-Cola and Molson Coors to make spiked lemonade under the Simply brand. From CNBC.com, Coca-Cola and Molson Coors Beverage are teaming up again, this time for a new line of alcoholic drinks under the Simply brand. The two companies announced Tuesday that Molson Coors will launch the Simply Spiked Lemonade Variety Pack this summer. Simply is the third brand that Coke has added alcohol to recently, joining Topo Chico and Fresca. Coke has partnered with Molson Coors on the U.S. launch of Topo Chico Hard Seltzer, which began rolling out domestically in early 2021, with a nationwide launch this month. Molson Coors has said Topo Chico could become a top 3 hard seltzer brand, joining White Claw and Truly at the top. Prior to Topo Chico Hard Seltzer's launch, Coke hadn't been in the alcohol business since the 80s, but that brand's early success is likely responsible for Coke doubling down on the category. Earlier this month, the company announced it is also working with Constellation Brands for an upcoming Fresca canned cocktails. It's the latest beverage partnership that blurs the line between drink categories in the hunt for growth. Non-alcoholic beverage manufacturers are diversifying their portfolios as soda consumption shrinks and new regulated beverage markets like CBD-infused drinks are on the horizon. Coke's rival PepsiCo is also rolling out Hard Mountain Dew with Boston beer next month. Likewise, brewers are under pressure to expand their offerings as U.S. beer consumption shrinks. And in Coke's third quarter, its nutrition, juice, dairy, and plant-based beverages division saw a volume climb of 12%. The Atlanta-based company doesn't break out the results for the Simply brand, which includes juices, lemonade, smoothies, and plant-based melts. However, Coke said Tuesday that Simply is its second largest brand by revenue, trailing only its namesake soda, and that its products can be found in half of U.S. consumer fridges. Simply Spiked Lemonade will be sold in 12-can variety packs, as well as 24-ounce standalone cans for some flavors. The variety pack flavors will include strawberry lemonade, watermelon lemonade, blueberry lemonade, and signature lemonade. I don't know what my face looked like while I was reading all this. The article says it speaks for itself, guys. People, it may not sound appealing to me, but These companies have gazillion, quadrillion, quintillion number of dollars to put into market research to know what they're doing. So I imagine this is based on something. Somebody out there, I have had Simply Lemonade. We usually drink Simply Orange Juice. Someone was drinking their Simply Lemonade and said it's 11 in the morning, and they go, this needs booze in it. And Molson Coors said we could do that. So I don't know if that's actually how it happened. That's how I imagine it could have happened. But the real answer is actually that Coca-Cola is seeing the future. In the future, when we were kids and we were promised flying cars and hoverboards and that kind of stuff, we were wrong. The future included spiked lemonade and hard Mountain Dew. So sorry, 14-year-old Josh, your dreams may have been crushed. But for everyone else who likes, this kind of news, yeah, sure, lemonade with some booze in it, whatever. That's going to be a great summer drink. It'll be interesting to see, the article talked about other things like CBD infused drinks. I'd love to hear your comments below. What are your thoughts about this kind of weird, this wasn't THC infused, it said CBD infused, but we're in this weird gray area of gimmick and trends, or maybe gimmicky trends, and they just blurred. But it blows my mind. I have no desire. I've tried CBD for certain things. I'm in Texas. The way we get CBD is very, very low THC concentrate. And so I've been told, for the CBD to work for your pain relief or whatever, it has to have higher concentration. I don't know any of that stuff, the science behind it. But what I do know is CBD infused drinks just sounds expensive to me. It doesn't sound appealing. Simply hard lemonade sounds expensive to me. Doesn't really sound appealing, but I'm going to be willing to bet you $5 they're not marketing it towards people like me and you. So the bummer of this article is the realization that U.S. beer consumption is shrinking. Got to change that. Which then leads me to our last headline, which some good news for the craft beer industry as Oskar Blues Dale's Pale Ale celebrates 20th anniversary with Double Dale's Imperial IPA. From thefullpint.com, 2022 marks the 20th anniversary of Dale's Pale Ale, the groundbreaking American pale ale from Oskar Blues Brewery. To mark the milestone, Oskar Blues announced the release of Double Dale's Imperial IPA, a double take on the beer that started it all. Double Dale's is available now nationwide in single-serve 19-ounce cans or in 6-packs of 12-ounce cans and on draft. 2 decades ago, Oskar Blues Brewery sent shockwaves through the beer industry when they packed Dale's Pale Ale into a can. It was then an unheard-of packaging decision, but the reasons were obvious to the OB team. It allowed everyone to easily take craft beer on the trail and deliver a fresher beer. Now, Double Dale's Imperial IPA picks up the torch, the welder, and the hacksaw to turn the industry upside down again, doubling down on hops with a newly formulated, massive IPA worthy of the legendary original craft beer in a can. It's impossible to improve upon such a classic recipe, so we went in a slightly different direction with Double Dale's, said Oskar Blues Lion's head brewer, Juice Drapeau, who piloted the new beer at the brewery's original Lyons, Colorado location. Double Dale's captures some of the citrus and caramel character of Dale's while achieving its own unique flavor profile and identity. We wanted to create something new and fresh that would live up to the legacy that Dale's Pale Ale created. Most importantly, being a boundary-stomping, hopped-up beer. Double Dale's is brewed with juicy tropical El Dorado and complex Talus hops, keeping up the Dale's tradition of utilizing only American hops. Fruity, piney flavors from the hops mingle with the caramel-driven malt bill, and the whole beast is supported by a new mineral-forward house blend of water, which includes 6 brewing salts. The result is a larger-than-life spin on Dale's that's just as packable, drinkable, and recyclable as the original. That's a really good press release written. I like that. I was reading the article on here, and when I got to the bottom, I was like, man, this is a strongly written press release. But it makes me want to go get one. Juicy tropical El Dorado. Congratulations, Oskar Blues. Dale's Pale Ale, with a lot of my friends in that region, Colorado, that was their gateway beer to craft beer. That was the gateway for them. Like here in Texas, a lot of us, it was Shiner Bock, it was Real Ale Fireman's 4. In Colorado, a lot of the times, it's Dale's Pale Ale. We actually have brewed clone recipes of it before that were also phenomenal. It's just a good, definitely hop forward pale ale. I know some people who might call it an IPA, but I'm not the biggest fan of the style, but I am excited. The 20-year anniversary. Time flies when you're having fun or getting sloshed on some pale ale. And that's it for this week. If you have any tips or industry news, email it to joshua@homebrewhappyhour.com or use the hashtag BNW on social media. Also, you can find this episode and so much more content and articles available at homebrewhappyhour.com. Make sure you visit our show sponsor, kegconnection.com, and use our promo code BNW for 10% off your first order. Have a great week, and we'll see you soon.